Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Now, this one is called Scary Urban Explorations That Went Horribly Wrong. In my opinion, any urban explorations can go horribly wrong. That's one thing I've always worried about in terms of wanting to go check out haunted locations and things like that. Just urban settings is too hectic of a situation. It's not like going out in the middle of the woods and finding an abandoned house that's sitting out there, and the biggest thing you're gonna find is an animal out there. There's a possibility of finding maybe a person living in it, but 9 times out of 10 in rural settings out in the middle of nowhere and you finding an abandoned house, it's going to be more or less occupied by animals. Urban exploration, though, that's a whole nother beast. And I couldn't put myself to going through and doing an exploration of an abandoned building in urban settings. But that's why we got the internet, and there's a lot of people who will go and sit there and explore like that. So let's get started on this. Now, as always, this right here is just based on what I see in the content, not based on the creator themselves, which the creator, of course, on this one is Slapped Ham. So let's dive on in, shall we?
Scary urban explorations filmed in the dark of night are some of the most fascinating yet creepy videos circulating the internet. In this clip, supposedly filmed at an abandoned house somewhere in Japan, an urban explorer gets more than they bargained for when an unexpected guest arrives. The footage begins with blurry shots of the exterior of the creepy abandoned property. Viewers aren't able to make out much other than the dense foliage and dim shadows lit only by the light of the camera. A few seconds into the video, something unusual disturbs the peaceful woodland scene. An eerie hand can be seen gripping the corner of the house. Only the hand is visible. The rest of the mysterious entity is hidden on the other side of the building. The hand appears to be pale and possibly streaked with dirt or mud. Before the explorer can investigate further, it disappears just as quickly as it arrived. Next, the urban explorer decides to enter the house. As they examine every corner of the messy interior, the camera pans across an open doorway. However, the explorer doesn't seem to notice the ghostly face peering back at them. Only the profile of the mysterious figure is visible, with most of its features obscured by long dark hair hanging over its face. The entity seems a bit camera shy, ducking back into the doorway when the light of the camera finds it. It's unclear who or what this creepy entity may be. However, its appearance in the doorway is nothing short of terrifying.
Now, in this first one, for Callan to call it a creepy entity is kind of laughable to me. Obviously, you could tell that it was a female person, an actual living, breathing person that was hiding out. The real question is, for me, was this person a friend of the videoer, or did he just stumble across a place where somebody was just hiding out and squatting, basically? Now, that's the real question. I don't question it being some paranormal entity. That was human through and through.
Chris Hopkins and his team of friends are the stars of numerous scary urban explorations. In this chilling video uploaded to YouTube, they explore an abandoned naval base, hoping to find something interesting to share with their followers. On a cold, windy night, they head to the naval base.
This building looks so weird.
Almost immediately upon entering the building, the group is startled by a loud banging noise.
Looks like a cave in over there.
They quickly run from the building to regroup, but soon decide to head back inside to continue exploring the rest of the abandoned base. The remainder of the exploration is largely uneventful. However, when it comes time to leave the building and head back to safety, something terrifying seriously spooks the explorers. The group has to travel through a wooded area. As they walk and chat about their evening, the quiet of the night is suddenly shattered by an inhuman growl echoing through the trees.
Make sure you don't get caught on the fence. Holy bro!
The group quickly begins to run from the terrifying sound.
Holy
However, the creature that emitted the growl seems to follow them through the woods.
bro!
Luckily, they make it back to the road, but not before one of the boys loses his phone during their frantic escape.
My phone! Help me! It's my phone.
The group is unsure of what type of creature made the horrifying sound. They all agree it didn't sound like any animal they've ever heard before.
I know! Help me. No, I was trying to go, follow behind.
They even theorize that the sound could have been made by a ghost or perhaps a cryptid such as Bigfoot.
It was yeah, I know. Look, it sounded like a freaking Bigfoot. That's what it reminds me of, a zombie. You know, it's cold.
With only the sound to go on, it's unclear what chased them through the woods that night. However, other urban explorers should definitely be wary of visiting this creepy location.
Holy bro!
Honestly, to me, I don't know where these people are, but that does not look like a naval base to me, first off. It looks more like an old, maybe asylum, hospital, something like that, but I have never seen a naval base look like this. As for the noise that they heard, I had to put headphones on just to be able to hear it, but to me, if you listen real carefully to it, it sounds more like a car with bad brakes. If you've had bad brakes before, you know what I'm getting at. You've heard that sound, you heard that squeal, but yeah, no, I don't see this as maybe being anything that would do that, like, besides brakes. It doesn't sound like a regular animal. Now, I've done heard wildcats, I've done heard mountain lions, bobcats. Doesn't sound like that at all to me. Like I say, it sounds like brakes. And then being in quote-unquote urban explorers, this could fit that bill. As for the noises that they heard in the building, I always say it. Urban exploration is scary. Just the simple fact that you don't know who might be hauled up into that building that's supposedly abandoned. There's been situations where gang-related situations have happened in abandoned buildings. Don't want to go into any other details, but if you understand what I mean, gang-related situations, then you understand what I'm getting at here with this. And considering how close they are to the road, I would definitely say it was somebody with bad brakes.
The scary urban explorations filmed by YouTuber Exploring with Cody sometimes turn up bizarre supernatural things. However, this terrifying video showcases one of the scariest experiences he's ever caught on camera. As Cody attempts to approach the abandoned buildings he means to explore, he briefly hesitates when he notices a light outside that keeps turning on and off without explanation.
This light right here keeps turning on and off. We're not sure if we're gonna go. That's the building we want to go to.
It's all dark, and the strange light is the only thing illuminating the trees outside of the abandoned site.
Oh, that's a different light.
Despite the darkness, the explorers are not the first ones to check out the site. As they approach the building, another group is silently exiting the area.
There's literally something see their lights moving around.
Undeterred, Cody and his team continue to approach the building and enter through a window. They walk around the empty property, capturing shots of decrepit chairs and rundown rooms. For the most part, their visit is largely uneventful. That is, until they hear strange, high-pitched sounds coming from a nearby room. The group decides to investigate the noises. They peek inside the room where the noises seem to be coming from, and much to their surprise, they see several flickering lights.
Do you see that light? Do you see that light?
Upon further investigation, they discover a small circle of lit candles on the floor of the room. Before they can examine the candles closely, another strange noise sends them running from the building. Because the team was not alone at the site that night, they theorised that the candles came from the group that was leaving when they arrived. The configuration of the candles and their placement in the abandoned house seems to suggest that some sort of sinister ritual was taking place. What would you do if you came across this eerie sight? Would you immediately run or quietly continue your investigation? Let me know what you would do in the comments section below.
Now, in this one, we see a group of urban explorers going to an abandoned building. The light in the distance was possibly the people that they saw leaving the place. I mean, who's gonna go and see those buildings without proper lighting? I know I ain't. You gotta see where you're going. You might can get your foot caught in a hole. You could end up falling down, breaking something, and then you out in the middle of nowhere and nobody can see you, nobody can find you, and nobody knows where you are. As for the sounds that they were hearing, that ringing noise and everything, sounded like a bad case of tinnitus to me, but that can always be added in post-editing to this, or it could have been possibility something that maybe that other group had left behind. Now, after reviewing it again, I will say that it's probably most definitely from that other group that was left behind. Before, if you have to look back at it, before they look into that room with the candles inside of it, there's a little bitty black device, it seems, on the floor closest to that wall that goes and separates where the explorers are and the room that has the lights in it. There's a little black device sitting on the ground, and that could have emitted the sounds that they were hearing. Now, also, I wouldn't consider the placement of the candles being a sinister ritual. It looked more like a seance to me. Probably that old building's probably got a local legend of being haunted. So the first group went and decided they would have a seance to try to see what type of spirits were going on. They probably remembered, oh, we forgot to turn the candles off. And then they went and came back into the building, and that's probably what those guys heard coming through and having to run away, was the sound of the other group going back in and trying to get the candles. But like I say, this whole urban exploration thing is just, it's a lot more creepier than just going into an abandoned house in the woods. Like I say, one of the biggest things you'll probably see more than anything is an animal in those compared to urban explorations.
YouTuber Connor Does Adventure is no stranger to scary urban explorations. However, when he and his friends decided to visit an old abandoned tunnel, they encountered something they'll certainly never forget.
Alright, Cameron, where's your flashlight?
Right here. Yeah.
Wait, shh.
Having explored these same tunnels before, the group wasn't expecting anything too strange or scary to interrupt their filming. At first, the areas of the dark tunnel, lit up only by their flashlights, turn up nothing more interesting than graffiti and the occasional piece of litter. However, a few minutes into the exploration, things take a turn when they hear a noise that sounds like someone jumping down into the tunnel behind them.
That was one scary thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah. Wait, shh, 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 shh.
No.
I can't.
My God.
They zoom in on the area and manage to capture a shot of a chilling figure peering back at them.
Hold on, let me zoom in.
There's a thing standing.
The group runs from the tunnel in terror. Unfortunately, it seems that they ran in the opposite direction to the exit, and they can only leave by heading back into the tunnel. Almost immediately, they begin hearing strange cries coming from the darkness. Soon after, the figure approaches. In the light, we can see a pale, humanoid creature walking slowly toward them.
What?
Again, the boys run in terror, eventually making it safely to the exit.
Go, go, go! Go now!
While it's unclear what chased them, it seems unlikely that they'll go back to investigate the tunnel or its mysterious inhabitant anytime soon.
She's right there! Get up! Get up!
Now, what a lovely place to go exploring. A dark, dank tunnel. And they have sat there and explored this a couple of times before. And I'm sorry, but I get it. It's a familiar place that you sat there and explored before, but what? Sorry, it's a lot for me to try to take in for a moment right now. Why continue to sit here and explore places like that? Sure, you sat there and you've been there before. Oh, I didn't run into anything there. It was fun. We had just found a lot of stuff. There was nobody there. You never know. Urban places have so many people inside of them. That's why it's an urban area, because it has a higher population. The highest population of people is always in urban areas. And just because something didn't have somebody there to begin with, don't mean that nobody's gonna go and visit it. The way I always look at things is, if you thought about going there, other people done thought the same thing too. Now, given I said all of that, I just want to say one thing and one thing only about this one. Now, if you need to go back to it, then go right ahead, be my guest. But one of the explorers shushes the rest of the group and has them turn around to look at the tunnel entrance before the footsteps jump down into the tunnel. You hear them going, shh, 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 what's that? And then when they turn around and pan towards the entrance of the tunnel, that's when you hear the bang of something dropping down into the tunnel. Now, to me, that seems very staged. Unless there was some audio that we didn't hear in the video before, I would say this one's 100% staged. And the entity, as it was being called in this, just looked like somebody dressed up with a ski mask on, and it's in low lighting night settings, and it makes it appear like it's a strange creature. I mean, if you look at it really closely, you can tell it's like like a ski mask, because the eyes, the way the darkness of where the eyes would be in a ski mask was just one complete line, not two eyes, so to say. And if this was a real creature, I feel that even with the low level lighting that they have, that the eyes would still shine in that sort of darkness. But that's me. What do y'all think?
YouTuber Hype Mike decided to check out an abandoned factory one afternoon and film his experience for his followers to watch. Little did he know he was not alone in the creepy building. He approaches the huge structure and enters through a doorway that seems to have been violently kicked in.
Entrance, guys. The door is like almost like kicked open. Like you even see like these footmarks here.
He walks around the building, recording the usual graffiti and litter that most urban explorers find at abandoned sites. Further into the exploration, he begins hearing strange noises.
What was that? Guys, did you hear that?
This seems to suggest that the building may not be as abandoned as he first thought.
What the hell's going on there?
Despite the terrifying sounds, he continues his exploration. He comes across other unusual things like a dead bird,
It's like bird stuff right here. Like almost like someone's like eating a bird. That'd be nuts.
and burnt spots all over the walls.
Someone like lit a fire in here or something. I swear people are trying to burn this place down, but like why?
The noises seem to follow him, eventually getting louder.
What the f was that?
As the sun sets, things seemingly return to normal. That is until something truly terrifying happens. A shirtless man in a mask jumps out from behind a door.
What the f? Yo!
He emits strange guttural cries and waves his arm as he chases the explorer from the property. Nothing about the strange man's appearance seems supernatural. However, his unusual and somewhat threatening behaviour was certainly enough to convince the explorer to leave. Sometimes people are the scariest creatures of all.
Holy shit. I'm ending it here.
Now, this one to me is the epitome of being fake. The noises and everything with the factory, I get it. Animals go in them, people go in them. It happens. But the part that just really takes me out of this whole video here is the part where you see a random door sitting in the middle of the room, and then the guy drops it and starts chasing him. If that really, really, really happened, the way the filmer was acting is not how a regular person in that type of situation would act. If it was me, that video camera would have been long gone and you would have never seen me exiting that building because it wouldn't have been caught on film. Simple as that. Video would have still been there. And just the simple fact that the person behind the door just ends up randomly dropping it doesn't really completely chase this guy, because let's be honest, holding a video camera and going back and forth, watching the person coming behind you, and it slows you down. Why didn't this person ever catch up with them? The reason? It was all an act for views.
Abandoned tunnels are a popular spot for scary urban explorations. There are usually few ways to get in or out, and little light penetrates the darkness as you move further into the passage. In this video, one urban explorer gets much more than they bargained for when exploring what seems to be an ordinary tunnel. At first, the tunnel is brightly lit. The camera shots are blurry, but we can clearly see there are working lights illuminating the space. However, as the explorer begins to look around, they're suddenly pitched into darkness. Now, the only light in the space comes from the distant end of the tunnel. Suddenly, something seems to spook the explorer, causing them to fall to the ground. As the camera continues to record, it manages to capture a truly creepy scene, a group of strange figures approaching from the darkness. The shot isn't clear enough to make out their features, but it does show that all of the figures are wearing the same clothing. They don't even look down at the camera as they march past. The footage ends before we find out what happens next. Did the urban explorer make it out of the tunnel, or were they the victim of something far more sinister? Without further information, we may never learn the truth behind this mysterious video.
Now, this video, the last video, is much like the previous video, and where I think it's a production. I mean, didn't it just look almost like it was right outside of a movie? The lights inexplicably got turning off, except for the one at the end of the tunnel, and the person falls, and then all of a sudden these ghostly figures come walking through. Just looks so staged to me. And I don't know about y'all, but those ghostly figures coming through didn't look like they had pants on. I don't know the reason behind something like that. That's a little weird, but maybe they were trying to go for an old hospital approach. Maybe they thought, where it looked like people were dressed up in Johnnies. But I ain't never seen long-sleeved ones. But all in all, what I'm trying to get at was this did not seem natural to me at all. But I want to know what y'all think. Was it real? I doubt it, but let me know what y'all think. Leave it in the comments for me to take a look at. And well, that was it for this one. So I hope y'all enjoyed my little reaction to it. In my opinion, urban exploration, unless you got knowledge beforehand that there's been security details that swept through that whole thing before you go and exploring it, 9 times out of 10, you might want to look for the real life 2-legged creatures that could come and get you in those dark, dank hallways. Anyway, I think that's it for us. Like and subscribe, y'all.